All right. Okay, welcome everybody. So this is the second class in the famous Ein Beis of the radio shop, and we're actually now on the second page of the mimer, and we'll put it a little bit together, not to so much the questions, but the concept that we begins over here is to understand what is this concept of the kit. What is the crown? Okay. And when we say a crown, there's three different explanations of the word crown. One, the first explanation is crown means in Hebrew that you have to wait. That is, when we tell somebody wait a little bit in Hebrew, so we katabi. So therefore, this is when we tell somebody to wait. The reason is because not that we don't want to explain to the person. We want to realize that the person is not ready. So too, there are revelations that are high, but there are no vessels to receive. The second explanation is the keter. Like we know that a keter sits on the person's head, and the crown is not considered part of the normal garments of a person. Right? We know that the king wears a crown. It's a sign that he is really separate from everybody. And it's a sign that people accept him. That what he says, they're going to listen to. That the next explanation of Keter is the concept of something which it penetrates every level. In another word, we call it sober. When we say that something is above, doesn't mean like in physicality. I think something is above is above and below. Above and below are also concepts. But the concept of sovev, keter, is something which is it's so to speak so high that it's everywhere. Okay, and we're really going to go into this concept today to explain more and to understand what does it mean that something is higher, but it's everywhere. What does that mean, and how is it possible for the person to sort of grasp onto from the things that he sees and he knows in his own life? Right? That's the greatness of Chassidus, the Chassidus Chabad, that it gives you an opportunity to take things which are abstract and to be able to have something to be able to grab onto, so that you can have some connection with the idea. As we know that and the Rebbe Malcolm Mashiach brings in the Vadiot that when a person wants to think about something, there's the concept as it's abstract, and there's the concept as it goes into details. Example, that a person can understand that there's a creator, and he knows his creator is greater than him, or you can think into the details that he sees what the creator is doing. Right? He's creating the heavens and the earth and the food and his body, and everything which he sees is really an example of what the Creator is doing. So therefore, even he comes into the details, and the more the person realizes the details, the more he has what to grab onto, and the more he can come to the wow, look at what's going on. So too over here, that the concept of Keter in the person, also in the world's concept, is the concept of the power of willpower. Okay, as we see that the concept of the person's willpower is something which is there, and something which is obviously it affects a person, but it doesn't have any one place where it has to be revealed. It's revealed everywhere, right? Then we're going to see the Muhammad is going to go into more details of this concept, but the concept of the keter, the crown of a person, is what was going to connect him to everything else. He's going to find that between all the worlds, the connection between something which is higher and something which is lower is going to be called the keter. Because the keter is going to have two parts to it. The part is that it's the lowest of the highest, and it's also now the highest of the lowest.
That's the connecting point.
So that's connecting point. As in also in a person, that a person says that nothing will stand in front of a person's willpower. What does that mean? That when a person does not want something, you can't move him. And when a person wants something, then he and the thing become connected. Okay, so now let's go into a little bit. Let's go by, so to speak, line by line, because each line is very, very adds into something. Okay, so like this, that this concept of the keter is generally called the ratzon, the will. Therefore, that just like we know every world that is created, there is a keter. So there's a keter in the world of, it's called the world of Atzilus. Okay, that is, what does that mean? A keter on the world of Atzilus. That means that is the keter includes the desire of the creator to create the world of Atzilus. In other words, everything which was going to be revealed in the world of Atzilus is there in the keter. Okay. So too, and below the world of Atzilus, there's the world of Bria. There's also the keter, the world of Bria. So there was the goal to be able to create the world of Bria. There has to be a keter which includes everything which is going to be in the world of Bria. And therefore, every keter and every level has all the details on that level of what is going to be created. And therefore, we know that in the order of the creation of the world, that the first revelation afterwards is called the Tzimtzum. The first, I translate Tzimtzum. They call there's different kinds of Tzimtzum. They call it but let's put it this way. First of all, to the creation of the world, there's before the creation of the world, there is the creator has the will, the desire, so to speak, a desire that there should be worlds. But therefore, there is a revelation of infinite light, and that infinite light, there is what's called the first Tzimtzum. The first Tzimtzum is what's called the pulling back of the infinite light. And after the pulling back of the infinite light, there's a revelation of the light which is called the finite light, possibility of finite light. And that way, there's one Hebrew word.
Not infinite, finite.
Finite. In other words, it was there before, but it was not revealed. And that's what's called the Rishon. This is was left over. And afterwards, there is what's called the Choser that goes back. The creator brings out a line of light, which is called the Kav. And the Kav goes through the Rishon and picks up the power to be able to create the different levels of the worlds. And the first revelation of this Kav is called Adam HaKadmon, the first person. And in that, there is a will and a revelation of what's going to be in all the worlds. So even on the highest world, there's a keter, and which includes everything which is going to be in all the worlds. Okay. And in this it's brought me in the was a sefer which is called the Mishnah Chassidim, that this Ak, this high level is called the world of Ak. Adam Kadmo. Okay. And this is what's called the outer part of the Keter, which includes all the worlds which are going to be. In other words, even on the highest levels, there's an inner part of the Keter, and there's the outer part of the Keter. Okay. And therefore, that's what it says in the Zohar, that when the Creator wanted to create the worlds, so he had went up into so to speak, a desire of its own will, that there should be worlds. And this world, this is what's called the first thought, which is in the world, the world of Ak. It's called the Machshava Kaduma, the Olam Ak. That over the first, so to speak, revelation, that's where is the revelation of the other part of the Keter, which goes on all the worlds. So this in a little while, this stuff it gets easier. But okay, right now it's difficult.
But the idea is that there are levels.
Yeah.
And there is a main level that encompasses the other levels.
Right. And that's what it says, that the Ketalim, that each one is connected with the other. That's what's called Ishtarshut Ketalim. As an example, a person wants to build a home. So then he has a general desire of what the house is going to look like. And then afterwards, on each level, he has the will for how to build the basement and how to build the first floor. So they're all connected with the general desire to have a house. Okay, and therefore, say like this, that so to speak, before the creation of the world, there is what's called the Ratzon Pashut, that the Creator has a will that He wants to have. There should be a will. There should be wills, and therefore it says in the book called the Eitz Chai that when it went up in the desire of the Creator to make the worlds, okay, and that is all called the Keter, and that's Keter, which includes all the different levels which will be. Okay. And that's when we say that the Keter is one of the definitions that it surrounds, and it encompasses everything which is going to be. Okay. Just like we say that the Keter, which is Atzilus, will include all the 10 spheres of the world of Atzilus. And when they the Keter remains after the creation of the world of Atzilus, remains that it encompasses and penetrates everything. Okay, so too, that the Keter, which is on the highest world, goes down to the lowest worlds and encompasses all the worlds.
What do I got? A little parenthesis about Keter, because we have to understand the simple meaning of the word. Usually, the Keter is a symbol. It's a symbol. It's not a thing. It symbolizes like a scepter. It's a symbol. Okay. So the Keter in this case is the symbol of kingdom, of kingship, of rulerships, like that crowns that represent God's will in His creation. That's what is symbolized by a crown. Because it's a king, it's a ruler. That's what is called crowns. So it's not crowns just because this is
it goes together.
Yeah,
just like a king. The king says something, so everybody. That's very good. Very good. Okay, so now I'm going to move down over here into we basically got the concept. Wherever we say Keter, we mean that it's a connection between different levels. Okay, so too, it brings over here that when we want to be connected with something, as you have to have a Keter which connects the two things. In other words, as I mentioned before, if a person doesn't want something, then he's not connected to it. And we find also that in terms of the Ein Beis brings in one of the Prakim of Tanya, that Hashem only waits for a person. Hashem waits for a person to accept upon himself to do the mitzvahs. Right? The person has to have his being able to turn towards the Creator, dependent on his willpower. Okay. So like we find by a person, that when a person wants to do something, so then he becomes connected to the thing. And he doesn't want to do it, so it's like he's not connected at all. And once I wanted to go put on tefillin, and somebody came from Russia. So I asked him to put on tefillin. So he says, "I'm not interested." Maybe I'm completely not interested. And so it's like a door. Okay, right? Person doesn't want, right? So that's one of the powers that the person has, that his wanting something but not wanting is the difference when he's connected to it or not connected to it.
It's interesting because the semantic root of mitzvah is connection. So
right. Right. Okay. And it's also connected with us that like Jewish king cannot be a king unless people accept it. We know by David and Melech that he was, even though he was anointed by Shmuel, and he was, I think about wanting 7 years before the Israel came and accepted him as a king. And this is not true by Melech
Not even
HaMashiach.
his family, not even his children.
And I think by Melech HaMashiach. Right? That's one of the reasons that it's so important that people learn and know about the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach, that the people should accept him and do what he says, so that we can say that we're ready for Melech HaMashiach. People, everybody wants Mashiach, but it's dependent on the people. The people have to accept. And how did the person accept? That has to do with what the Rebbe says. Right? So, okay. So now, therefore, there is a different level in a person. The person can have, there's a different levels in a person's enjoyment. There's such a person that he can enjoy. It's not perhaps it's a little foreign, but by a king, there's such a concept that a king can enjoy the fact that he's separate from everybody else, and he doesn't need anybody else. It's not because it feels a guy proud, but in fact he knows that his removed. So there's such a concept of being removed, and if a person is removed, to be able to move him into being connected to something else, so there has to be that he wants to be connected. Okay, this is an interesting concept that will is what pulls a person towards something. Okay, so that's what we're saying that so too the creator is not in need of anything like we understand needs. It's not missing anything. So to speak, to be able to go from the situation where there is no world to there should be a world. So that, as it says, Allah baratzon, that it went up in His will that He should want a world. Even when so I can't say that we want something, it's because we're missing something. We understand that it's good to have something. So by the Creator, so it's not, He's not missing anything, and no reason, so to speak, behind it. So the question is, so what happened? Why is it that He went up to want to have two worlds? So there are different attempts to understand logically. But in the end, we say that just like a person has a desire for something, many times there's nothing behind the desire. So too, it's something which is above our understanding to understand what the Creator. And therefore, we say that it's a desire that He wants. Okay, because there's different reasons which we see after once it, what could be the advantage, right? We see that His greatness, that He should be able. There are different reasons given to the fact that He wants to give good to other people. Or as the Brahman could see this, the reason is because He wanted a dwelling place in the lower worlds. But ultimately, it's above understanding. It's understanding. Okay, so now we're saying like this. So even if a person wants to have some sort of desire by himself, it's coming in the fact that he wants to be connected to something. Right? A person, everything which is outside of a person must be something which is causing him to be able to move from himself to something outside. It's
an exterior reason. Out of him, outside of him.
Yeah, being a teacher, I see it all the time. Right, children are playing, and you want them to do come and to study or do something. So you have to somehow be able to cause them to leave from what they're enjoying to come to do what you want. Okay, so too, we find that by a person that we have the ability of influencing what our heart wants, because we have the power of our mind. So we know that the mind is in nature rules over the heart. But there are two different ways of ruling over the heart. One is that the heart you could put your foot down and say, it doesn't matter what you want, this is what has to be done. But that is, so to speak, an external way of dealing with the heart. But the way to turn that the heart should have a will to be able to do what the mind understands what should be done. So then the mind has to be able to bring ideas to the heart, that the heart should be able to accept what the mind understands. And this we know, this is what's called the power of these moments, of thinking into concepts of the greatness of the creation, of the creator and the creation, so that we can influence the heart. The heart should also want to love the creator, as we know that's the way it should be. But so that's what's called that the mind can actually dwell over the heart. It's not from force, but it's from the fact that it can get involved with ideas that from the ideas the heart can understand that it's a good thing to come close to the creator. Okay, so that is how the ratzon works in what's called in an inner way. Okay, there's the outer way, which is just forcing, and the way of inner way is by using the ability of the mind to be able to think about things which the heart can understand, the conclusion that it's good. And this is spoken about in different places in Hasidus, that this is one of the things that we try to do before we daven or during davening, and actually in the second book of Hamshik, it goes into the details of exactly on each part of the davening what your person should think. He should be able to influence his heart. His heart should also want to come close to Hashem, because really the heart is really the person, right? It's not just the person's understanding is a good part of it, but the person is really according to what he wants, what he thinks is good, what he feels is good, and what he's willing to give himself over for. And that's dependent on God.
You say something essential that this link, this don't connect with the mind, with the heart. You have to be goodness. This is very important because you have to be everything about goodness. Because what is not good and it's not right, it's not what we want for the heart. We want the heart to also yearn for goodness.
Right. Yeah. And it's supposed to be the translation of the goodness. You have to take out one of the oaths. It comes out godliness. Goodness is being close what Hashem wants. That's goodness. Okay, I think that's enough for today. As I say, we can hope hopefully that we'll be able to be together in the Beis Hamikdash today. And with the Melech HaMashiach, we should be able to hear the Torah Chadash and the Titan say in all the world, Yad Tagib Yachad, Echi Adonenu, Reinu, Melech HaMashiach.